Hello everybody, welcome to another studio vlog. So it is now mid-June and I'm just getting underway with doing my drawings for my theme for this month. But before I get into that, just a general hello to everybody. Thank you for watching my vlogs so far, if you've been watching them. I actually really enjoy making vlogs, but I feel like what I do is I sort of rush it at the last minute. I take footage kind of slightly haphazardly. Partly that's because my camera runs out of battery, partly because when I'm drawing intensively over the page, my head is over the page and I need to move whatever I'm working on around so much. Like if I'm working on a loose piece of paper, I'm sort of twizzling it around the whole time. It wouldn't really be very easy viewing. But I'm going to try and be a bit more mindful from now on about filming things and sharing things. It's just taking me a bit of time to kind of settle back into it, I think. But I do really enjoy making videos and I enjoy editing them, believe it or not. I know a lot of people find that a bit of a chore, but I actually enjoy the editing process. So I'm going to sort of, I don't know, try and sort of get back into it a bit more and do these more regularly. I know I say this all the time and then things happen. I just feel like I've got a really chaotic life and just like everything changes so much. So I never really get sort of into a sort of a groove of improvement, as what it feels like. Anyway, enough of that. So you can see me here working in the first page of my new, what are we calling it? A junky art sketchbooky thing. It's basically a book which I am working in, and some of it is sketches, some of it is sticking things in like a scrapbook, some of it is a bit junky, but probably not the traditional junk journal sense. It's just a journal. I suppose I could call it an art journal, couldn't I? Because art is such a general term, it could cover everything. So the first page is always intimidating. So as I mentioned on my Instagram, I am just using it as a test page. That's generally what I do with the first page of any book. First few pages, and to be honest, I do test pages throughout whenever I feel like it. And I also write on this page a little bit later, and it's mostly just me writing out my thoughts about what I'm going to use the book for and what I think about the pens. But I just thought I'd share that with you. This is me just doodling on the front page of my new journal. So the point of this book is going to be the theme of badges. So brownie badges, achievement badges, merit badges. Using badges, which are probably going to be stickers in my case, as a way to sort of motivate yourself to do things. So on the next page, I turned over and I just very roughly used watercolour pencils to make the background, drew out a whole lot of circles, and then went round them very roughly with pencil crayon. It's not actually my style to be quite so rough and ready and sort of like not particularly neat, but I thought I'd have a go because it's always good to try new things. So yeah, I did, how many is there? 4, 8, 12, 6, there's 16 badges there. And then I don't actually fill them in. And the reason I don't fill them in or put anything in them is because I haven't decided what I'm using the page for. I just sort of did it as a sort of mindless exercise of just doing something on the page. I may come back and use it as an index at some point, perhaps if I do sort of set myself badge-orientated tasks to do. In this journal, I may come back and index them here, or I may use it to just stick stickers in at some point. At the end of the day, it's just it's like a new background that I'm going to play with a bit later on, and it is on my badge theme. So I hope you enjoyed the footage of my mum's garden again. There's probably going to be a bit more of that popping up because it's a very handy location just outside the back door, and I'm quite excited to see how it goes throughout the seasons. So here you can see I actually found a load of actual real life brownie badge, scout badge, girl guide badge badges, and I saw them. I actually looked them all up on eBay. I didn't buy all of these, and these are not the real badges. These are actually just stickers that I made from the images from eBay. So don't worry, I'm not going to be selling these. I'm not going to be using them in my artwork. I just wanted to sort of have them in here as a record. This book is kind of turning into a sort of a research project, I suppose. So this is my my research into the real deal stuff. So some of these are quite old and vintagey, and the more I look at them, the more I think I'm going to just buy them because I really fancy those sort of pennant shaped ones at the bottom. But the plan with these is to stick them down in the book and make some notes on sort of traditional brownie, scout, girl guide badges and the kind of things that people were, they're sort of encouraging children to learn, the kind of skills they're encouraging them to learn. I find it quite interesting. I did mention in a previous video I didn't really do brownies for very long. I got fed up. Oh, I think that was a Patreon video, so I'll just explain it now. I did start off doing brownies, but I didn't do it for very long. I think the only badge I remember getting was the hostess badge, which was basically inviting someone to your house and making them a cup of tea, which that's pretty straightforward. I didn't really get excited about a lot of the badges, which is odd, because a lot of them are on a theme that I do actually enjoy, like things like outdoors and camping and, I don't know, learning practical things like that. But maybe at that age I wasn't yet into it. Maybe that came on a bit later, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm sort of like into it now as an adult when I'm far too old for brownies. But yeah, that's why the theme has occurred this month. It's something that interests me. Now, I just whipped this up on Photoshop. It's not supposed to be a massively beautiful work of art. It was just an experiment. I used those badge images to see what a repeat pattern would look like. Because I'm thinking about making something similar for my Patreons, like a sort of a badge repeat pattern. And I'm just going to use that in here. So you can see now by this point I filled it up with a bit of journaling, a little bit of writing about what I'm going to do, what my plans are for this book. Just testing to see if they fit there, but I think I decided not to. But I'm just sort of comparing the sizes as well. I got them exactly the same. It's quite funny. Yeah, and then these few pages I started making notes from the Brownie Guide badge book I had. So I bought this book off eBay, and it has sort of all the details about all the badges that they had for brownies in 1991. And I just wrote them out just for reference. Some of them sort of jumped out at me as being like, oh, I'd quite like to do that one. I'd quite like to do a theme on my Patreon sheets. When I say Patreon sheets, by the way, for anybody who isn't aware, I have a Patreon, and it's a subscription sort of based website, cancel anytime, where you pay and I send digital downloads. And I do, depending on the tier, you can get up to 4 A4 sheets of digital downloads every month with images from whatever theme, whatever I'm working on basically. So for June, it's going to be a sort of a brownie badge achievement sticker type theme. So the next thing I'm going to share with you, I went for a little trip to a museum, a local-ish museum called Forge Mill Needle Museum. It's quite interesting. It's an old needle factory where they used to manufacture needles for hundreds of years. And it's quite interesting because they had like old needle packaging and these beautiful displays of needles on the wall in these gorgeous hand-painted frames and all sorts of interesting things. So I thought I'd share that with you now, just a little bit of footage I took while I was there, nothing professional, but just in case you wanted to see what we were up to. So back to my desk again, and you can see in front of you, in front of me, in front of us, a freestyle badge. Now the reason I'm doing a freestyle badge is I just wanted to, at this point, play around with how I was going to draw my badges, like what media I was going to use, how I was going to get the sort of the stitched edging effect. And I didn't quite feel up to doing a masterpiece of art in the middle. Not that I ever really feel up to it. So I was just using some words, and the reason I chose freestyle is because when I was looking at achievement badges on the internet and looking up all the different ones available, I saw this one that was for swimming, I guess, because in swimming you do all the different, like, breaststroke, backstroke, forward, whatever they call them, I've no idea. But there's also freestyle, isn't there? Freestyle section. Freestyle style of swimming, and I quite liked it because I thought, well, I'm quite freestyle with what I do and how I do things, and it's quite nice to be freestyle every now and then and just make stuff up as you go along. So I decided to make some freestyle badges, and these will be going on my Patreon sheets. So I hope that sort of explanation helps the people use them. Like, it's not completely random that I put a freestyle on a badge. It is from a swimming achievement badge. But I thought they could be useful for those of us that like to just wing it and do what we feel like, basically. I have stuck one of these on the front of a new sketchbook, which I'll show you later. But yeah. So while I was making these badges, these badge illustrations, I was really enjoying the colours. I'd done quite a few experiments on paper in like a little cheapy sketchbook. So I'd sort of isolated which colours I was going to use for these freestyle badges. And then once I'd done them, I then started taking the paints that I'd really enjoyed using from my palette. So those 6 blobs at the bottom are all my watercolour paints. And then I went through my Tombow Erotic 10 pencils and chose some colours that I thought matched. And in that way, I've come up with my colour scheme for the month. So I tend to work to a colour scheme. Just keeps me sort of on track in terms of not going completely bonkers and adding in all the colours of the world and then looking a bit like incohesive. So yeah, I've got my colour scheme sorted for the month. So I've got my theme, I've got my colour scheme, I've got my notes about what I'm going to do. So yeah, it's all systems go really, and it's just a matter of getting it done in time now. I have left things pretty late and I'm a little bit nervous, and I do this from time to time and I normally get it all done. But this month it's been a bit tricky because obviously we've moved across the planet, we've settled in pretty much, like the initial setting in. I don't know how long it takes to settle into a country, probably quite a while actually. But we are sort of settled into our daily routines now. My son's at school and he's getting on fine there. But there's been a lot of things I need to sort of change and work on. I've been looking for a day job, which I'm very nervous about, I have to say, because I'm used to being able to focus almost all my time on Patreon and creative things, and then obviously being a mother and doing all the other things. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous about getting a job because I really do not want to stop focusing. The amount of focus, the amount of time that I spend on Patreon, I don't want to cut that down because I don't want to sort of go backwards. I already had to kind of cut out a few tiers last year due to time and due to postal issues in Japan. And I don't want to end up having to sort of reduce what I do again. I mean, I may have to do that at some point, but if I do, I'm hoping that I will be able to sort of think of other things to do, new things to do. I have itches, creative itches to do more physical stuff. So perhaps there's going to be a physical tier coming back. I have been looking at actually making some fabric patches, but there'll be more on that soon. I've sourced a supplier and I've had samples and things. So yeah, if you're interested in, any patrons watching, if you're interested in something physical, do leave a little comment down below to kind of boost me, because at the moment it's quite hard to think in my head how I'm going to balance everything. I do have job interviews and I do have what is a fairly successful job offer, I think. So it's all systems go on that front. So I'm just sort of nervous about my time, really. But yeah, it's just a case of adjusting to new routines and sort of seeing what I can do in the time that I have. But yeah, needs are needs, and we need money, so I've got to do that. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But I will be here. I'll still be continuing something in some form, and I will let you all know how it goes in the studio vlogs probably. So I'm just giving you a quick flip through at the end of what I've done so far in this journal, in case anybody's interested. So all my notes about the badges. This is more detailed notes about the badges that I liked, what kind of things you could do for them, kind of making notes about the things I might try illustrating for this month. So I've written down ideas of mine, and I've also made notes from the actual Brownie book of what they require in order to get the achievement badges. And then the idea is that at the end of this, I've written down a big list of things that I'm going to illustrate, and then I'm just going to have a play around making up the badges, which is all going to be happening next week, and I will film as much of it as I can and share it with you. But yeah, this all systems go. I'm going to keep trucking, keep going on, keep trying, and then we'll see what happens. Oh, and this I stuck, after I scanned these Freestyle badges, I stuck the pages in to my journal, which is really good. I really enjoy sort of incorporating my drawings, my sketches and bits like that into my journals alongside whatever notes I'm taking or whatever I'm sort of writing about, because otherwise I have no idea where to put the pieces. So you see me do that a lot in my Christmas journals, and I really enjoy doing it. So that one's there. That one's actually a pocket on the right in case I think of anything to put in it. So this page on the right there in the red circle, you can actually see a list of things to illustrate. And I certainly won't be able to do them all, but it's just sort of like a prompt list, so that if it gets to next week and if my brain is a little bit slow, I can just sort of get started on drawing the illustrations. I did draw these frames off camera to sort of get me started. So these are all the like little shapes of the badges that I found. And then I drew some sort of textures, some stitch textures, because I started off drawing stitch texture directly onto the badges. As you can see, there's a few there that have it on. And then I'm getting a bit of wrist trouble in my joint in my right wrist. So I thought I better lay off that and just do some textures, and then I'm going to digitally overlay those onto the badges a little bit later on. That's the plan with that. So once I've done the illustrations, I'll be popping them into the badges, and then I'll be playing around with them to make some sort of images for journals for my Patreons. So that is pretty much what I'm up to this week. Oh, this is a new sketchbook. Treated myself to a new sketchbook. If I can remember the brand name, I'll put it on the screen because it's gone out of my head. Oh, it's a Talons, Royal Talons sketchbook. I thought I'd get a landscape one. I don't think I've ever got a landscape one before. I've just stuck a couple of my stickers in, a few of my stickers on the front, including that big Freestyle one, and that's good to go for whenever I feel like doing something in a sketchbook, because I very rarely keep an actual proper sketchbook, so I thought I'd see how that goes on, and I will let you know about that too. So thank you very much for watching. Big thank you to my Patreons. Big thank you to everybody watching this, everybody on Instagram, and thank you for your support. Let me know how you're doing down below in the comments. Ask me anything you need to ask me, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.